Welcome to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. I'm Ritwika Gupta, and in tonight's episode, we are taking a closer look at India's industrial landscape and the pivotal role it plays in the country's economic growth. To discuss this in detail, I'll be speaking with Pratik Kumar, MD Wipro Enterprises and CEO Wipro Infrastructure Engineering. We'll delve into the current state of India's industrial sector and the strategies that have fueled Wipro Infrastructure Engineering's impressive growth. But before that, my colleague Ritwika Kumar will give us an overview of India's manufacturing and industrial landscape. Over to you, Ritwika.
Well, thanks, Ritwika. India is rapidly advancing on its ambitious journey to become a $5 trillion economy by 2025, with significant strides being made across various sectors. Amongst them, the manufacturing and industrial sector stands out as a key driver of this economic momentum. But what exactly does India's manufacturing sector entail, and why is it so crucial to the nation's financial system? India's manufacturing sector is one that is diverse and spread across a plethora of industries like automotive, engineering, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and consumer durable. Amongst them, the Indian automobile industry is one of the largest in the world that is now driven by rising domestic demand and an increase in focus towards the electric vehicles. Similarly, even when it comes to pharmaceuticals, the nation is one of the leading suppliers of generic drugs and vaccines. With its growing energy capacity, robust employment potential, and the development of skill pathways for millions, India is uniquely positioned to make a strong impact in international markets. The manufacturing sector's critical role in India's economy is clear, and the government is leaving no stone unturned in its quest to make the country a global manufacturing hub. Several landmark initiatives have been introduced to bolster this journey, like the Make in India scheme, Production Link scheme, and a very simplified registration process like the Udyam registration scheme. Some plans include offering subsidies to manufacturers and simplifying tax rules to encourage global investors to come to India. Through these schemes, the government has envisioned that by 2025, 25% of India's economic output is going to come from manufacturing. The contribution of these schemes towards the manufacturing and industrial landscape of India can be well traced by citing the example of the PLI scheme that was formulated during the pandemic with the intent of strengthening the manufacturing landscape of India. Assessing its performance up until last year, it has managed to create over 6 lakh jobs directly or indirectly, according to a report by the Observers Research Foundation. Beneficiaries of the scheme include micro, small and medium enterprises as well as bigger businesses, and it has significantly reduced India's import reliance on raw materials in sectors such as pharmaceuticals. However, at the same time, the challenges faced by this sector are also stringent and cannot be just overlooked. Issues like shortage of skilled labor, inadequate infrastructure, regulatory complexities, and some strong global competition do come in the way of India's golden manufacturing era. By addressing these hurdles and continuing to push forward with innovative policies and infrastructure development, the manufacturing sector can not only sustain its current momentum, but also play a huge role in shaping the future of the Indian economy. Now, the manufacturing and industrial landscape is undeniably an ever-evolving one. Today, it contributes a total of 17% to the Indian GDP and can be credited with generating more than 27.3 million jobs. Its role towards the employment index can be well traced with the example of Wipro Infrastructure's 6th hydraulics facility in Jaipur that is all set to create more than 400 jobs in the city itself. Now, this very well proves that as we move closer to the $5 trillion goal, manufacturing is going to be at the heart of India's growth story.
Ritwika, thank you for the report, and swiftly moving on now to discuss the state of India's industrial sector, Wipro's growth strategies and the impact of the new Jaipur manufacturing facility. I'm now joined live by Pratik Kumar, MD Wipro Enterprises and CEO Wipro Infrastructure Engineering. Thank you, Pratik, for joining us today on Leaders of Tomorrow.
Thank you, Ritwika. It's equally my pleasure to be speaking to you.
So to begin with, tell us, how would you assess the current state of India's industrial landscape? Where do you see the most critical gaps?
I think we are at a stage where, as you're aware, India continues to be one of the few geographies across the globe which continues to show good momentum of growth. And that's positive. We have seen over the last 2 years that the capex cycle, the investments, it continues right across, both in public sector as well as in private sector. So it augurs extremely well for industries across the spectrum. And we have, what is very noticeable, Ritika, is that we are finding more and more global companies as what we are experiencing across the globe. And that is, there's a lot of pockets of unrest for own strategic reasons. They are wanting to actually use India as a very strong manufacturing base. Now that's new, right? Because many of them have been over-dependent on some of the other Asian countries where they have been in the past making investment. But today, India, they see as a very strong, viable alternative. And this is not only in heavy engineering, but it is across many other goods and sectors, including the larger sector of electronics manufacturing also, where we're beginning to see a lot of investments coming in. So what pulls it together? One, of course, that you need to have a very supportive environment, for sure. You need to actually have the right kind of incentives. So, all of us are aware that the government's intent as expressed through the PLI scheme that has benefited a lot of sectors, and we think that trend will continue to move forward. And of course, we need to actually have the right impetus and focus on this skill development as well. So it takes multiple things for it to actually come together for any sector to actually see a strong momentum of growth. And I think we just feel like we are at the cusp of such a moment where the next few years appear to be fairly strong for people to be encouraged to make the right kind of investments depending on their own strategies as well as growth plans.
And Pratik, what role do you believe Indian companies must play to position the country as a global manufacturing hub?
First and foremost, without doubt, I think when we are talking about competing on a global platform, it's absolutely inescapable that your quality and the quality benchmarks also have to be global, which means that the companies will have to invest in the right kind of automation just to make sure that the quality thresholds which the world has come to expect is something which we are able to also deliver as well. Our productivity needs to be no less than what we have seen some of the other Asian countries and what they have been able to establish. We should be able to deliver at scale, and many of the large factories of the world where they actually produce parts and equipments and goods at a massive scale is something which, only in few pockets we have been able to actually do it in India. We need to actually build that. And for sure, we actually need the workforce. And by that, I don't really mean the ones on the shop floor, right across, at all levels. People who are coming from the engineering institutes and colleges, the labor workforce, which has to actually work on the shop floor. They all need to actually see manufacturing as an attractive sector where they can actually build their long-term careers. And that's something which I'm hopeful will begin to change. And Ritwika, you are aware that for a very long time, we had some of our best minds who were majoring and who are doing their education in engineering and mechanical engineering were ending up actually get drawn into some of the other sectors. But that shift has begun to happen because we think that today manufacturing is at the intersection of technology and manufacturing coming together, which is actually opening up very, very rich career options being provided to young graduates as well as labor force in all stages.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12 in conversation tonight with Pratik Kumar, MD Wipro Enterprises and CEO Wipro Infrastructure Engineering. Listen in. So Pratik, Wipro Infrastructure Engineering has grown significantly under your leadership. Tell us what, according to you, are the key strategies that have been driving this growth?
So one, of course, is, we have, Ritwika, we continuously look for segments and areas to grow into in the adjacency of what we are doing. And which has actually over a period of time has led us to look at not only where we were in hydraulics, but also look at making investments in automation business. Today, we are into aerospace business. Likewise, we also have a strong foothold in our water business, which largely caters to the industrial water treatment. And then, of course, we have a very relatively small but very niche additive manufacturing, which is known as 3D printing, which is the Wipro 3D business. What drives us, when you actually just peel it a little more, beyond just this, whole desire for growth, we look at whether the business has a platform where we can actually take it global. That's one. So it's not only addressing one market, but we can actually stretch it and take it to the other markets of the globe as well. It's something which is scalable, right? It's something which, it's not only something which we need to organically continue to build, but something which we can actually scale rather quickly. Third, whether we can actually lean on our existing know-how and capabilities which actually reside.
Now, the opening of the Wipro Hydraulics Jaipur manufacturing facility marks a major milestone for the company. Pratik, could you elaborate on how this ties in with Wipro's long-term vision?
So just as a bit of a context about Wipro Hydraulics, which is the business which has inaugurated the latest manufacturing facility in Jaipur today, and we feel very, very happy and pleased that our sixth plant in the country. And for the first time, we have actually really ventured out of south of the country, because all our previous 5 manufacturing facilities which we have in the country, we have one in Bangalore, in Karnataka, we have 2 in Chennai, and there's 2 in Hindupur. And our promise to our customers, Ritwika, is always that, with their growth, we will continue to build and invest in capacity. And when we were beginning to actually reach a point where we felt we needed to make fresh investment to support our customers for their own global requirements and needs, we thought it would be a prudent idea to be able to base something in the north. And the government here, the Rajasthan government, they were very encouraging, very welcoming. They helped us at each of the stages to make sure that what started just as a thought became a reality from start to finish in a period of about 12 months, which is absolutely remarkable. We have never experienced anything even close to it in any of our investments, not only in India, but overseas.
So tell us, how will the new Jaipur facility contribute to Wipro Hydraulics' ability to meet both global and local demand? Are there any specific markets or industries that will especially benefit from this expansion?
So for sure, this facility will, to a large extent, is going to support our customers who are addressing the needs in the construction equipment industry. So large players who are in backhoe loaders or excavators and material handling equipments. So they will get supported. And incidentally, it is not only for the domestic needs, but it will be for the global needs, because one thing which you're clearly seeing is that India is becoming the newer platform for the equipments to be made here and to be shipped globally right across. We work for our customer here in Jaipur, JCB. They support and they export from here to over 100 countries. So think about every single backhoe loader which actually goes out will be having our product which will be fitted in.
So zooming out a little bit, Pratik, tell us, how would you say initiatives like the PLI scheme, the push for Make in India, National Infrastructure Pipeline, or the Gati Shakti plan, how have all of these, impacted India's industrial sectors so far?
All these have, certainly given a lot of reason for hope and optimism, and which is what makes us believe that from the current size of the industry, potentially, we could become if you look at construction equipment industry currently, we would be among the top three. But we would be very clearly in the next 4 to 5 years, we would be clearly number two globally across. And it would not happen without the right kind of encouragement coming through the policies which the government is extending. Some of those which you already touched on, giving the right kind of incentive to the industry, which you also mentioned about the PLI scheme. The PLI scheme particularly has not yet come for this segment because one of the thinking behind the PLI scheme is around import substitution, and which I think has certainly benefited those industries which were hugely import dependent. But part of it also is to actually create the right kind of incentives for export promotion as well. So while PLI has not been there for this sector, all the other schemes which are there, which are actually helping in infrastructure growth, directly, indirectly support all the players and all the key stakeholders right across. So we feel very, very positive. If I have to just give you a sense of where we are from our current size of the industry, we think that we could be growing fivefold over a period of next 6 years. And that's very doable. And when that happens, we will be very clearly among the top two globally right across. And I think that will be a significant achievement for this industry, which till about a few years back was lagging significantly behind some of the other Asian countries.
Right. And how do you see India's MSMEs and small businesses in the manufacturing sector playing a role in supporting India's journey towards Atmanirbhar Bharat?
No, so I think your question is so right, because all the wheels have to actually turn together to make it work. And in the entire value stream, you have the OEMs or rather, you have the customers sitting right on top. You have the OEMs. And the success of OEMs will also equally depend on how robust is the rest of the supply chain. So we are the ones who work directly with the OEMs, but supporting us would be scores and thousands of SMEs. And each one need to feel equally encouraged to be able to make the right kind of investments in automation, the right kind of tools, right kind of machines. Because when we talk about global quality, that responsibility does not rest only with the OEMs or with the tier ones. It needs to actually flow right through to all the other smaller manufacturers as well.
Pratik, sustainability is also becoming increasingly important across industries. Tell us, what steps is Wipro taking to integrate sustainable practices into its operations, and how do you view sustainability?
For us, it stands very much in the core of everything we do. Every small, right from we have been making investments to ensure that, first of all, it begins, many of these things at home, which is we need to see that all our manufacturing plants are using sustainable practices in terms of energy consumptions, what we are doing in terms of this, just recycling of waste material, making sure that nothing is actually getting lost in the environment, and just making sure that there are the effluent waste which is actually going out is something which is also treated properly. That is actually at one level. At the second level is at the product level itself, that whatever products which we are actually making helps our customers to be able to drive greater energy efficiencies.
Right. And finally, before I let you go, Pratik, tell us, how has your experience across different domains within Wipro, from IT to HR and now infrastructure engineering, how has this influenced your leadership approach and in driving the company's growth?
I have actually enjoyed each of my stints, Ritwika, and but questions like this very often will make you reflect, and I find that whatever I actually have learned through each one of my roles in my journey has actually helped me in every role which I have taken as I move forward. And today, when the role today which I play is, is to be able to, frankly, to be able to put together a very good team. And I'm so privileged to have a team which today can run large global organizations who I work with, and that's my biggest joy. To be able to help them to think bold and enable them to be able to move forward without any roadblocks, right? Beyond that, the assurance which I need to actually make our team believe in is that once in a while we will, as we move on, we're likely to trip. Not every move we make is likely to be successful, but that's not something which should actually set us back. We should take the learning, fold it in, and be able to continue to move forward.
Well, fantastic. It was a pleasure having you with us, Pratik. Thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And with that, it's a wrap on this episode of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.